Hi, this is a short video to show you how to enter your assessment findings in our institutional software called SPOL. In order to access SPOL, please log in first to My Western. Once you're logged into My Western, you'll be on our regular landing page. Under the Important Links section, you'll see a link for SPOL, which stands for Strategic Planning Online, Annual Assessment. There will be one more login screen for you to log into our SPOL system. Just a short word about the login to this system. If you have logged in previously and changed your password, then you will just use your regular username. So in my case, I would use cpolastro without the westernwyoming.edu. Also, if you've changed your password in the past, please feel free to go ahead and use the password that you've created. If you haven't ever changed your password, then your password on this page will be the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Please also know that our SPOL system works best in the Chrome browser. So here's my login information. This will take just a second, and when it brings you to your SPOL page, you will see the information for the program that you are currently facilitating. A couple things I want to make sure that you're aware of when it comes to the system. Please make sure that the planning year is set to 2019-2020. This is very important, as all of our data findings will be specific to the academic year in which they were collected. So this means the findings that you're entering currently would be things that you measured in the fall of 19 or in the spring of 2020, and we put them together in one planning year or academic year. So make sure that this is set to 2019-2020. After double checking that, please click on Assessment. And once you've clicked on Assessment, click on Programs. As you can see, I have many programs listed here, as I'm the person on our campus in charge of overseeing these efforts. However, you will only have one program or two, possibly, depending on your role on our campus. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to use the business program as an example. So you'll click on your program that's displayed for you. Planning year 2020, as you can see. The outcomes, if you'll just click here under outcome type, you'll see that the business department has 4 student learning outcomes. You may have 3, you may have 4, you may even have 5, but you should see here that under outcome types, you should have maybe 2 to 3 right in there, maybe even 4 learning outcomes. These might be listed under student outcomes. They might also be listed under program outcomes. Or in the case of some programs, you may have 2 program outcomes and 1 or 2 student outcomes. This can get kind of confusing, so make sure that you click around, and if you ever see the little caret pointing to the right, it means there's more information under that section. The difference between a program learning outcome and a student learning outcome for the purpose of this software is that student learning outcomes are those outcomes that are measurable as they are tied to specific classes. So for example, the business department has said that they would like one of the outcomes of their program to be demonstrate core literacy and communication skills. Once again, with this arrow pointing to the right, that's a signal to you that there's more information. So click on that arrow and it will drop down, and now you can see that this outcome will be measured in these 2 specific classes, Accounting 2020 and Management 2100. And you can look in this a little more detail. Students will complete a financial analysis report. That's going to be the project number 1 of that class. And then Management 2100, students will complete an analysis of the leadership management of a Fortune 500 company, which is a paper that they'll be completing in that class. Let's look at measure number 1, Accounting 2020. It has been proposed by the business department that Accounting 2020, the financial analysis report, that 70% of students will score a 14 or better on the scoring rubric component. Presentation style, total points possible in the component is 20. Now, once again, if the arrow's pointing to the right, that means there's something else, more information. Go ahead and give it a click. Here is where you'll enter the findings. Let's say, for example, that you were the department facilitator for this business program. It would be your responsibility to review the outcome, review the measure, review the criteria, and then enter the findings. So now I'll show you how entering the findings shall be done. Once you have findings, and when it says there's no records to display, that just means there's no findings yet available, which just means they haven't been entered yet. So this plus sign is the place where you would add new information. Click on the plus sign, and you'll have the opportunity to adjust this information. So we've got the planning year 1920. This class could have been offered in 19 fall or 2020 spring. Depending on the class schedule, you should select the term within the planning year that the class was offered. You click here, and it will go out and select a class, Principles of Accounting. Select the class. There is a possibility, like in this case, that this class was offered in more than one section. As you can see, Principles of Accounting 2, Accounting 2020 was offered 2 different times, this specific planning term. For the most part, we don't have a lot of programs that are entering different findings per section. Rather, they're collecting all the findings from all the sections and entering them in as one whole. If that's the case, then you can just choose which class you would prefer to have the representative class be. If it doesn't really matter if you're collecting them all, we just need to make sure that those assessment findings are tied to the course that they were gathered. This defaults to the date today, and it said here the target was 70. This is carried down from this description that 70% of students will score 14 or better. In here, you enter the sample size, the total amount of students who completed this presentation, and then the number that met this scoring requirement, and that will create a percentage. So for example, if there were 100 students and only 40 of them scored a 14 or better, you can see the percentage that met was 40%. This also gives you an opportunity to write some notes in this box regarding this planning term. There might be something specific that you need to remember or to know, and you can add those notes here. Once you've selected the class, well, first verified the term, selected the class, reviewed your targets, you can put in your sample size, the number met, any notes, and then you can hit the save button. I won't save this on here as I don't want to trap any results in there that are not accurate. I just wanted to give you a quick overview on how to enter your findings. Now we're back at the details, the program details page with the outcome types. Remember, any arrow pointing to the right means there's more information to be had. You would follow the same steps that I showed with this with each individual measure. Each individual criteria requires that some finding be entered. The criteria, for the most part, has already been set, the measures have been set, and the outcomes have been set. This is the time of the year that we need to enter in the findings. If you have any questions, or you need a further explanation, or you would like to review any of this material, please feel free to contact me directly. Email is the best method to get hold of me right now, and I'd be happy to set up a Zoom session with you to share my screen to make sure that this process is easy and streamlined and meaningful to you. Thank you.